Welcome to Impact Wrestling. Now, before I get started, I'm not putting any images in this. I'm doing just a straight review because there's something I need to address, something I need to say. I really need to say this because I know I could do it at the beginning, and I did this a couple of times and I messed up twice. So I'm going to do the review now. There will be no images in this. I know you're used to it, but this time I want to go straight through this and get to what I want to say. I want to make this short and also want to make this respectful. So, Impact Wrestling is still in Las Vegas, which is fine. I'm enjoying it. But you wonder how long I'm going to stay. Now, they've done a whole bunch of tapings, so maybe the next few tapings, or maybe in January, that's when they go back to the Impact Zone or somewhere entirely different, or they start traveling. So that's what I'm hoping for. Now, the first match, we got a mixed tag of Sabin and Mickie James versus Renwall and Deonna Purrazzo. Now, this really didn't feel about Renwall or Sabin. This is about Mickie James and the, you know who, the Purrazzo, the most dominant woman that's there at this moment. She is a damn good wrestler. I like her character. She does a very good character as a heel. Now, this was not about the guys, it's about the girls. But it's okay. There's nothing wrong because the story is not that bad. Deonna Purrazzo's made it clear she's going to destroy whoever she's going to get in the ring with when the time comes. That hard to kill. That is Mickie James. This is about that, and the heels win. Nothing wrong with it. You just wonder if she wins, who's next? Will it be Mickie James again? I'm just saying. Next, we got Raju. I gotta put at least one image in. It's in my face. Leonard D. Guys, you know what got me? It wasn't him working the ring. It wasn't. It wasn't him using the spray. That wasn't it. It was his freaking music that got me. That music sounded like either like an old porn star music or something from an old show that's trying to show romance. Not comedy, romance. And you're going, what the fuck? Oh my gosh. Now, is he selling this new gimmick? Yes, he is. Is it a good gimmick? Yes, it is. Do I think it will get anywhere? I don't know. I know not everyone is enjoying the gimmick of Lawrence D. I would botch literally saying Lawrence D because it just this and make me laugh because it's like, why they put Leonard D in this situation? Yes, they did the Wrestle House thing. Yes, they did Leonard D as Lawrence D and let him get all drugged up on some weird spray that smelled like monkey farts, as I believe. Was it Matt Striker that said it? I believe. I don't think it was Hilo. I think it was Matt that said that smells like monkey farts. It's just that they're letting him try this. And it seems to be interesting. It seems to work. Now, and mind you, having this gimmick, this character needs more. We know he can wrestle. The guy can wrestle. It's just I want to see him in a story. You don't have to be in the main line of the thing. We already know this from Wrestle. They can put something stupid on and it'll fry your brain. Either you're going to love it, hate it, or in between. I'm just saying. I don't remember who won the match. I think it was Leonard who won. No, sorry, I take that back. Neither person won. It was thrown out because of Josh Alexander coming to the ring, wiping out Raj Singh, who seems to be Raju's manager, after Lawrence got laid out by Raju himself. He's in the middle of the ring. He's demanding Jonah. He don't care. He wants Jonah. Now, the problem for me personally, it's too soon. This is what I talked about before. I liked that he was not there last week. Why did you bring him here now? Why? For me personally, why did they do it? Why? It makes no sense. Particularly after what he said to Scott, who came out and said, look, You're asking for Jonah. He's not here. You know why? Because I sent him home. He's not going to be here because you are too angry and I care about you. Listen to me. You're my family. All the people he named from Team Canada, I believe it was Team Canada he was naming, it meant something to him to watch out for him. He wanted to help him. He cares about him. But he's saying he's too angry. He needs to stop. He needs to be focused. Well, he went outside, grabbed Raj, and did pretty much a C4 and said, this is what happens when I'm focused. I want Jonah. Now, he did find out that Jonah is going to be his at Hard to Kill. That's weeks ahead from now. And the problem here is this. And I know one of my subscribers said, hey, he's going to turn heel. Dude, until it really happens, I don't see it. He is a face now. It makes no damn sense to turn him heel when this is about his wife and daughter, because we thought it was a son. It was his daughter, could have been injured by Moose. That's what this is. The entire motivation is him getting so pissed off that Moose threatened his wife and child, one of his two daughters. Threatened him by wanting to spear him with them in the damn ring. So him turning heel makes no damn sense. Now, mind you, they could still turn him heel and it will still make no damn sense. But until then, I'm just going by what they're showing us. A very pissed off Josh who is willing to go through anyone to get to Jonah and then get to Moose because he was still screwed out of his title. I'm just saying, this is what you get. It doesn't make any sense. He shouldn't even be there. He should have been allowed to stay away from the show until Hard to Kill. Or at least have an interview which will say, hey, I'm getting better, I'm recovering, and I want Jonah. To have a segment to say clearly, Jonah, this is what I would do if I was booking this. He would not show up on the show. You would have pretty much, I would send over Josh Matthews. I know not everyone likes it, but have him at his home. He goes to his home and interview him and says, look, I came here to see how you're doing. How is your recovery? Because he looked like he got badly hurt. And he says, I'm recovering and I'll be ready by Hard to Kill. And he looks at the camera and says, Jonah, do you hear my voice? I'm coming for you. You tried to take me out just to prove that you're a top dog. Well, guess what? I am the true dog of that ring. I own it. It's my yard. Mine. You trying to take my spot by trying to wipe me out because you want to make a first impression on Impact TV? No. You don't make an impression with me. I'm coming for you. And at that point, you can say Scott gives the match. You should do it that way instead of rushing it. I'm just saying. Now, we had Gail Kim, now supposedly management, because we had a BTI short snippet, because I don't usually watch BTI. I don't. But we had BTI where my Killer Frost, Lady Frost, went up against Kimberly and beat her ass. She's part of the roster. Scott puts her over. But then when she started asking, look, Ultimate X for the knockouts, I want in. Please, I am perfectly built for it. Which she is. She's a gymnast. I am perfectly built for it. Please let me in. He says, look, I am not the one who is running this situation right now. I'm leaving it to the one who's been set for that. And Gail Kim comes out. Gail Kim simply says, you do have something. I watch. You got it. So for this Hard to Kill, Ultimate X, you're in it. Chelsea Green's in it. You got Jordan Grace in it. You got Rachel Ellering in it. You got Tasha Steelz. And you got Rosemary. Of course, you can't have Havoc. And I don't think Alicia Edwards has ever been in, well, not that this is about her being in Ultimate X, but she's never been in a high-profile picture. Very rarely. So I wouldn't see her in there. No, it would make no sense to put her in there. And Sienna Evans, no, this is high profile for her. I don't think it's good for her either. So seeing this makes sense. Now, I gotta say this. Having Gail Kim the one who handles the knockouts might actually be a good idea. Now, mind you, it feels like a bite off of WWE because you got Adam Pearce and you got, what is her name? Sonya Deville doing their job. Now, mind you, in this situation, Scott's still on top and Gail Kim is now management, not over him, but in the same bracket. She's now handling the knockouts, which is nothing wrong with that. Having a woman handle the knockouts will make it feel more important because it's always Scott. So the question is going to be, how would they book Gail Kim as the management for the knockout? That's the question. Now, we got the influence and the inspiration versus Decay. I might as well get this over right now. An 8 mixed tag. This wasn't about Decay. Let's make this very clear. And if anyone likes, like Rangers of Wrestling, who really loves the inspiration, in this situation, they're getting spotlighted, which I was very worried about. I was worried that the inspiration would not be spotlighted correctly, that they would be given the titles, but they wouldn't have anything to do. Understand, guys, getting the titles when you first come in to a company means a lot. But what makes it even more important, what goes forward. After Bound for Glory, if they don't get proper booking, what was the damn point of stripping it off of Decay and putting it onto the inspiration? So, of course, after what happened last week, now they have the relationship with a Tennille Dashwood. You wonder if it's going to be inspirational influence or influential inspiration. They were talking about that beforehand, but when the match happened, neither side wanted to put their foot in the water. They'd rather see the other one get nailed due to the fact that Black Taurus as well as Steve was in the ring. They just didn't want to deal with it. In the end, the one who ate the pin was Tennille Dashwood. Now, oh, my nose is itching. Allergies are up. Tennille Dashwood makes the best sense in the situation because you now have 3 Aussies, 3 cute Aussies, and one of them is going to feel jaded because the other 2 Aussies would rather argue about, hey, we're the champs and we don't need to do anything, but as an Aussie, we still love you, but no. And you would expect with Tennille's point of view, hey, I'm an Aussie too. Let's all do this together. We are a family. We are Aussies. But then this happens, she goes, what the hell was that? You're supposed to be on my side. You're my girls. And you did this? This is a setup. Let's be honest. Before Hard to Kill, you're going to have inspiration versus the influence. It's coming. It looks like it's coming. Now, mind you, I will at least say the booking makes sense to have 2 Australians and a friend of them legitimately in real life in a Tennille Dashwood to having this storyline. Now, is it a good storyline? It's okay. It's not like the most great riveting stories, but it is what it is. I'm just saying. Now, FinJuice versus Ziggy Dice and VSK. They're trying to make up for what happened. And the thing that gets me, and I think I may insert another image, you see Ziggy Dice doing a magic trick where he's bringing stuff out of his mouth. And I'll show it right now. Guys, when I saw that, I said, what the hell is he getting out of his mouth? And then when I saw him saying, is he doing magic? Are you serious? Honestly, you see this, you wonder why is he not working with Johnny Swinger and Hernan Daddy. I'm just saying. Doesn't matter about who won. We already know who won. It's FinJuice. But the question's going to be what now for FinJuice? Not Ziggy Dice and VSK. They're going to stay where they are. They're like a jobber tag team. That's what they are. At least until they decide to break Ziggy Dice off from him. And maybe give him his own time working with, if possible, Johnny Swinger and Hernandez. If he's working with Johnny Swinger and Hernandez is their manager, it'll be a lot of comic relief, but it'll be interesting comic relief compared to what we got now. I'm just saying. Now, the street fight of Eric Young and Rhino. I really didn't care that much about the street fight. There's no stipulation with this. I'm sorry, guys. It didn't feel important to me. Because what does this actually mean, having a street fight? It doesn't end the feud. I wanted to see Violence by Design move on to something else. Now, the video package they have for Violence by Design was very good. But still, as I've said, Violence by Design is floating. They're in filler feuds. They're not really doing anything. They need to do something. The match was alright. But then, at the end, who do we get? Who do we get at the end? Once you see the Good Brothers come out, as well as Willie and, well, I'll give you like this. Once you see everybody come out, you see the Good Brothers with Violence by Design, you wonder where they're going to go with this. Are they going to be one big group? Are they going to be working together? Are they going to be doing what? 10-man tag now? Because you got Violence by Design and the Good Brothers along with Willie and I'm sure they're going to have, once Sam comes back, they're probably going to have a 10-man tag. Because they may throw Sam into that. Because they're going to need an extra person. Because they're not going to just leave Diener out. They're going to probably have that. That's what I think. But that's just me. Now, the stipulation match of Matt Cardona and W. Morrissey. This is where it gets interesting. The stip is this. Matt won. No problem. But because Morrissey was angry about it and saying that you don't deserve it, and I'll say this, when it came to Matt talking about his run, he mentioned that he had one shot at the world title once in 18 years. And he's talking about WWE, it's obvious. He's not talking about GCW, because he did win the GCW title, if I remember correctly. But he's not mentioning Game Changer Wrestling's title, because they're not affiliated with Impact Wrestling. They're not. Yeah, they may mention them, but they're not going to talk about him having a reign there. They're not going there. So for him, they're going to be referring to WWE, which he did get one shot at it, other than the Intercontinental title. So in this situation, Morrissey was playing on that, and he got what he wanted. He got Matt saying, you know what? Fine. You think I don't deserve it? I'll give you this. You want to try something before our match at Hard to Kill? Let's solve this right now. Let's go to the ring. And let's make it like this. If we go to the ring, I'll put my shot up for the line. If you beat me, I back out. I'm done. I won't bother you. But that's if you beat me. And that's what we got for this match, which was a good match. It wasn't bad. It was fine. Then we get some interesting stuff when we get Matt Cardona bleeding. Then we get a little bit after it's over, because pretty much Morrissey loses his shit, gets pissed off because he should have already won, gets pissed at the ref. Well, let me crank this back. There were several times he could have pinned Matt, and he didn't get it. Then he shoves Matt up against, I think, the second turnbuckle in one of the corners. And you got Brian Hebner trying to break it up. He shoves Brian Hebner back. And Brian, he ends it. I just scratched myself. He ends the match. DQs it because he shoved him onto the floor. Then, you know what he did? He kicks him in the face. Then he turns around and he's ready to destroy Morrissey to make sure when it's time for Hard to Kill, there's nothing of him. Chelsea runs out. He is not moving. He wants Matt, and he's telling Chelsea to move. But at that same time, Moose, who is up in the rafters watching, comes down. He's got his title, and he says, pick him up. Let me nail him. Pick him up. And he's not doing it. And Moose is yelling at Morrissey, saying, pick him up. And he says, no. And then he nails Moose. Then he grabs Chelsea Green, and he shoves her in the ground. And then Matt loses his shit and beats the crap out of Morrissey, grabs the title, holds it over his head, and I believe I may put an image of that with Chelsea by his side. The next step, seeing if people are receptive to a Matt Cardona being in Hard to Kill for the next couple of weeks, because we still got a couple of weeks left before it happens. And Throwdown Thursday, I believe that's on a Saturday. I think so. The Impact Medicinal, I forgot the name of it, but pretty much Impact Wrestling will be doing their show on the 18th. That's a throwback, and I'll be watching it. But I hope you enjoyed this show. please, well, actually, not yet. Almost forgot. Oh my goodness, almost forgot what I wanted to talk about. Guys, the show was okay. I'm going to say that right now. If you don't want to see the rest of this, just end the video. But I got to say something honestly. And this is not meant on just Alex or JD. This is not meant to chew on them. This is not meant to be disrespectful. And especially to just Alex, because I am saying it to him. Because he's not as high as JD. JD gets big numbers. Alex gets this. I am down here. I am in the dirt or gutters as it goes. But I got to say this. And I'm not saying this to be disrespectful to him. But what he said before, and more than a few times on the stream, I have to show some issue. Now, for those who saw Hard Times 2 on my channel, I thank you. The numbers on there are very high, higher than I've ever gotten within about a week. I've never had numbers that high before. And that's mostly due to the fact there was no one else who was doing it. Guys, there was only one other guy who actually, he started in the same year as me, as 2012. He was about 2 or 3 months ahead of me. I did mine in July. I believe he did his in March. So he started 2 or 3 months ahead of me in 2012. And when Hard to Kill came out, I did my video like I'm doing now. I edited it. I uploaded it. But guess what? There was not one person who was doing a review of it. Not one, until the other guy, I don't remember his channel name, he did it after me. I was the first one to upload Hard to Kill 2 as a full review. Not as a highlight, not adding it to another show like AEW Dynamite or WWE, and then Hard to Kill predictions or actual show. No, I was the first to actually review it. That's one of the reasons why my numbers are so damn big. And I'm a tiny YouTuber. I got over 400 subscribers, where normally I only get maybe 20 or 30 people watching my show. And that makes you think about just Alex, or JD for that matter. JD has over 100,000. Over 100,000 subscribers. Now, he can choose anytime he wants to switch from WWE to something else. Of course, his numbers will go from here, and they will drop. There's no lie. And that's the same for just Alex. Their numbers would drop if they switched from not doing any WWE content because of how the YouTube algorithm works. There's no lie about that. But look at my example. I was the only one, other than one other guy at the time when it first came out, to even upload a full review of it. And my numbers is at 903 at this moment, I think, after 5 days. 5 days almost. Counting next day. It'll be 5 days, and I got 903 views on a pay-per-view of a very tiny remains of an NWA. 903 views. Think about what happened if just Alex did it. Or JD. Yes, the numbers wouldn't be huge. They wouldn't. I can't say they couldn't at least try. Try an experiment. I say this particularly for just Alex, because as a black man, because it makes it very clear, as a black man, it ain't easy for him. And being part black, I understand that. But as someone who sees a fellow black man, or I'm mixed black, he's black, as they would say, I'm pure American black, when it's not pure American black. Every black American who's born in this country that descended from there, they're all mixed. If anyone ever hears you say, I'm a pure black African American, you know what pure black African American is? Mixed with white, mixed with Native American, mixed with Chinese, or whatever else in this country got mixed with. That's the truth. Unless they can track all the way back to Africa and mix that way, we're only Africans, they'll mix with something. So don't let anybody try and lie to you. But that's not meant to insult him. I, as a mixed black American, want to see him succeed. Because I like his content. He's a nice guy. He's trying his best to do something he loves and is passionate about. Honestly, he is. And I want to see him succeed. And if he hates WWE that much, and then he says he's going on his Raw cleanse eventually, and he's not going to do any WWE content, why not do NWA? Why not go to Impact Wrestling? That is new content for you. GCW. The most he does is basic reactions to maybe GCW. Maybe a reaction, if it ever he decides to do one, to NWA, which he's never really done. I would recommend him at least try to put up new content on the show, on his channel, and see what happens. Try it for about a month, along with what he normally does, and see if it gets new numbers. Him saying, I can't switch. Honestly, he doesn't want to switch. No one is telling him to just drop the entire content. Only thing is being suggested is put something new on the channel. Review it. See if people will be responsive to it. Just saying, well, I know I'm not going to get anything from the algorithm is a cop-out. Not because you're dropping everything you're doing, it's because you're not giving it a shot. I don't make money off of this. You guys know that. I make no money off of YouTube. It would be nice if I could. It would supplement my disability. I'm not asking for huge amounts of money. It would be nice to just have a couple of extra dollars because I don't make much from disability. I don't. But still, if I could make money, it would be nice. And I would be doing it off of not WWE content, Impact Wrestling content, NWA content, sometimes well, I also do AEW. Am I saying sometimes? I also do AEW content. So I'm just saying, if anyone who's my subscribers, who normally sees my channel, if you go to Just Alex's channel, and I'm not telling you to chew him out or anything, but at least talk to him. Say, hey, Alex. And not saying to do a super chat. If you want to do super chat, do it if you want. If you really want him to pay attention. But you could tell him, Alex, hey, listen, you always talk about you don't want to do WWE content. You do a Raw's cleanse and you don't do any content. Why don't you switch to another show? Why don't you do NWA and Impact Wrestling? And don't be afraid to at least try it for a couple of weeks, but don't get rid of your other content. Look, this guy who has small numbers managed to get 903 views on a pay-per-view because he was one of the first to upload it. That means there's some people that want to see it. That's 903 views. Talk to him about it. Now, mind you, he's going to say, you know, I thought about it, but no. That's just not me. Fine. He chooses he doesn't want to do it, don't chew him out. Because that's his choice. But when you hear him say, more than a few times, I wish I can switch. I wish I never had to do WWE. It kind of pisses you off to hear him say that when someone like me gets 903 views on a pay-per-view. Yes, on a pay-per-view, that's important. But that means there's people out there that want to see it. That means something. And a bigger YouTuber like him who can get thousands of views. The only thing you have to do is at least give it a shot. And then build his fan base up. Give them a reason to want to watch him on a minor show. Impact Wrestling compared to AEW and NWA compared to AEW and WWE. He has to put the effort in to convince people to want to watch him review these shows. He's got to convince people to watch these shows and to watch his content. One of the things many people don't get, when you're doing this, you're trying to convince people to keep coming back, to have a reason to come back, to be interested. You got to convince them. Now, mind you, it doesn't always work, but at least try. But this is just my point of view. Peace.